Yeah. Hi, hello everyone. This is Shanmugaraj. Welcome to my channel. One of the aims of this channel is to build a global knowledge sharing platform in the domains of project management, leadership, and agile. You can join me and help me with that either by subscribing to this channel or sharing my videos with your colleagues and friends who are in need of it. Right? So, having said that, let us get into today's topic. So we are currently discussing some of the leadership ideas from MIT Sloan. Today's topic is workers with less experience going to gain the most from the generative AI. This article has been published by Brian A. Stewart in the month of June 2023. Why does it matter? Workers with least experience can quickly improve at their jobs with the help of generative artificial intelligence, according to a new study. Generative artificial intelligence may be able to pass the bar exam or help CEOs write speeches, but those results have been generated in a controlled setting and with relatively little at stake. In real world, enterprises face the age-old question of technology innovation. How will generative AI affect workers, particularly those with limited experience? According to a new paper by MIT Sloan Associate Professor Daniel Lee, MIT Sloan PhD candidate Lindsay Raymond, and Stanford University Professor Eric, inexperienced workers actually stand to benefit the most from the generative AI. The co-authors found that contact center agents with access to a conversational assistant saw a 14% boost in productivity, with the largest gains impacting new or low-skilled workers. In other words, the workers were upskilled, not replaced, thanks to the technology. Generative AI seems to be able to decrease inequality in productivity, helping lower skilled workers significantly, but with a little effort on high skilled workers. Without access to an AI tool, less experienced workers would slowly get better at their jobs. Now they can get better faster. Generative AI is the latest in the line of technologies to disrupt the workspace. Computers that can complete data entry, bookkeeping, and basic assembly line tasks have been replacing or augmenting workers for decades. More recently, computerization has streamlined research and analysis, helping workers do more in less time. Many of these technologies work when provided with explicit instructions. If you provide the right input, the computer will give you the right output. The subset of generative AI known as large language models is different though, as it can infer the relationship between the inputs and outputs. If you give a large language model enough pictures of your mother and pictures of women who aren't your mother, it will be able to figure out whether a single picture is your mother. What is the impact of technology that can do that? To study the impact of large language models, the researchers looked at the customer contact center at a Fortune 500 company that sells software to small businesses in the US. 83% of agents were based out of the US. Contact center agents with access to an AI assistant were 14% more productive, with low skilled workers improving the most. Average contact centers have much room for improvement. Supervisors can spend up to 20 hours each week training low performers. Improvement comes from experience, which often means dealing with stressed out customers. This can lead to employee burnout and extraordinary high turnover. Annually, up to 60% of contact center workers leave, and companies spend as much as $20,000 to replace each employee. Highly skilled workers are good at reading customers' frustration, and that can take getting yelled at for 6 months. An abundance of data is another reason contact centers are a good testing ground for generative AI. As anyone who has called a helpline knows, conversations between agents and customers routinely recorded for quality assurance purposes. An abundance of data is another reason contact centers are a good testing ground for generative AI. As anyone who has called the helpline knows, conversations between agents and customers are routinely recorded for quality assurance purposes. That gives generative AI models access to a large training dataset, which can be used to provide agents with the recommended responses to common customer questions or links to relevant product documentation. Lee and her co-authors emphasize that a generative AI model was meant to augment and not outright or replace the contact center employees. The model offered recommendation only if it was sufficiently confident in its answers, which reduced number of incorrect responses. In addition, workers weren't required to use the recommendations. They followed them 38% of the time, which is consistent with the industry average for generative AI tools. The study shows gains in efficiency and customer sentiment. Workers using the generative AI model increased the number of customer chats resolved per hour by 13.8%. Within 2 months, they were resolving 2.5 chats per hour, compared with 1.7 for colleagues not using the model, who needed 8 months to hit higher threshold. In addition, workers using AI model spent an average of 35 minutes on each chat, compared with 40 minutes for their colleagues who lacked the model. As noted, productivity gains were highest among workers with the least experience, who resolved 35% more chats per hour when they used the generative model. Productivity was essentially flat for workers with most skills and experience. Using the generative AI model also led to improved customer sentiment. Requests to speak to a manager declined by 25%, and transfer to other departments tend to happen earlier in the conversation. Using the generative AI model, the escalations to the managers reduced by 25%, and department transfers, which tend to happen to get into the right department, right? That AI model was able to help the workers better match the customer's problem to the right business unit for the solution. The large effects on lower skilled workers tells us a lot about how we are changing what workers are saying. It is not just a recommendation that they always follow. It is not just autocomplete. It seems that the model was changing, leaving the customer thinking the situation has been resolved. Right? Now let us look at some of the important findings, some uncertain implications. The papers show a clear benefit to using generative AI in the context of the contact center. They also raise a lot of questions, as Lee said. First question is, it is not clear who benefits from the productivity gains. Are contact center agents paid more? when their performance improves? Or do the developers of AI model get a bonus? If workers can resolve more chats per hour, does the company hire fewer agents? Will contact center volumes increase as customers begin to realize the experience is better than it used to be? Right? So it's also worth exploring whether workers are learning from the AI model's recommendation or simply following instructions. Are they becoming what Lee described as a small business owner whisperer, learning how to diagnose customer specific problems? Or are they more like programmers copying code snippets from GitHub, or drivers getting to their destination faster using Waze, using the provider recommendation to augment their work without thinking about how to solve a larger problem, right? If you're just typing the recommendations, then you may not be necessarily be learning. You are more productive, but the source of your productivity resides in the technology. On the other hand, if companies take the time to teach workers how the technology can augment what they do, workers start to learn faster. And being faster at learning is going to make a big difference. With that, we have come to the conclusion of this video. Hope you guys got a fair understanding on how a generative AI model helps low skilled workers compared to high skilled workers. We have seen some evidences from contact centers, how it boosted employee morale, how it boosted customer sentiment, how it improved the productivity. And we also talked about a warning that employees should not just take the recommendation and copy and give it to the customers. They should learn what technology gives to them, and they should become a skilled person, right? Comparatively, relatively, right? So I hope you guys like these kind of videos that help you to become a better leader in your organizations, right? So with that, I'm signing off. See you in the next video.